Claude Opus 5 just dropped, and it is Anthropic's direct answer to OpenAI's GPT-5.6 Sol. On Anthropic's own benchmarks, it sits at or near the frontier, but the price is the headline. Same input price as Sol, with cheaper output. That sounds great on a chart, but I want to know if it can build something real. GPT-5.6 Sol and Fable 5 already built this exact application. Same plan, same starting project, same skills, and now Opus 5 gets the exact same challenge with one prompt. So today we can answer the question benchmarks cannot. Which model should actually build your application? Let's get into it. So I'm gonna use the same prompt I used to build the application with Fable 5. So this is the video in case you want to check it out. But most importantly, I have a document that you can reference which contains the plan that we're gonna use today. So let's copy the plan. I'm gonna go to Claude. I already created Habits Opus 5. It's a React Native Expo application, blank. It only includes an app icon skill since I'm gonna require the agent to come up with a name for the application and an app icon. So for that, it's gonna use my skill app icon. You can learn more in the description in case you want to use the skills. And it's gonna use as well my MCP server. Again, you can learn more in the description. Let's make sure that we are selecting Opus 5 with the ultra code thinking effort. This is because in my test with GPT 5.6, I use the maximum thinking effort available. So to make things fair, I'm gonna use the same. I'm gonna use the bypass permissions since I want the agent to handle automatically everything without me having to approve everything manually. I'm gonna paste the prompt and hit enter, just like that. Now, while Opus 5 is building the application, let me give you more context about Claude Opus 5. It's basically designed to be used every day, and it's now the new default model on Claude Max and the strongest model available in Claude Pro, which is the plan that I have, the $20 per month. Now, this table is very interesting, and it actually got my attention because I couldn't believe that Opus 5 is literally 50% cheaper than Fable 5, and it's better at coding, according to this graph. And today we're going to actually confirm that. But not only Fable 5, which is the most expensive model available at the moment, it's also way better than Opus 4.8. So I already made videos creating apps with Fable 5. Now, in case you don't have time to watch the other videos, let me just tell you that in my test between GPT 5.6 Sol and Fable 5, GPT 5.6 Sol was able to deliver a better developer experience, better application, and it was able to make the application work the first time versus Fable 5. No, it wasn't able to do it, although the end results were very close. In that specific test, GPT 5.6 Sol won because it's 50% cheaper. But today, we're comparing it with Opus 5, which it's basically the same price. It cost $5 in and $25 out per million token, versus GPT 5.6 Sol cost $5 in and $30 out. So it's a bit more expensive. So according to this table, if we compare Opus 5 versus GPT 5.6 Sol, it's pretty much better at everything except for agentic coding. Everything else, Opus 5 is supposed to be better. They said that it's better at verifying its work, finding root causes, and iterating until something actually succeeds. Quick update, we're 10 minutes in, and Opus 5 is using the MCP correctly. It's gathering information. It decided to name the application Tally, which is the same name that Opus 4.8 chose when I was doing my test with the same prompt. Gathering information about the packages, how it's going to implement haptics, and it's also researching how to implement the widget. For that, since it's pretty new, I provided the documentation. It's searching the web, and so far everything looks great. Quick update, we are 22 minutes in, and Opus 5 is running the application on my physical device, so that's a plus. Let me allow this and press reload. Let's see what we got so far. Boom, the application is working, and I believe is compatible with light mode as well. This looks really nice. Now, before we start testing, let's wait for Opus 5 to finish, and then we can judge. Okay guys, this is new, haven't seen this before. So Claude can now use the iOS simulator, and this is new. That's pretty cool, and it's running it here. This is huge because now Opus 5 has context on how the application actually looks like. For example, it's taking screenshots, as you can see here. So this screen is broken and it's detecting it. So it's saying that the summary block is overlapping the header, and now it's rewriting the home screen. Okay guys, so Opus 5 finally finished, and I gotta say, I'm very impressed with all the testing that it did. Now that you can run the simulator inside Claude Code, you can actually see what it's doing, what it's typing, what it's screenshotting, and validating that it works. But you have to keep in mind that it's going to take a while as well. For example, every time that it took a screenshot, it has to view what's in that screenshot and then based on that try to validate. And there are a couple of limitations, especially since this is running on a simulator. It could not test the widget, it couldn't activate it. For example, the test notification, it couldn't unblock the simulator after testing the push notification there, but we can see it. It couldn't test zoom transitions, drag to reorder. Those gestures are more complex, of course, and for that we need to do test manually. Now, before the final test on a physical device, let's actually talk numbers, because it cost me $73 for this session only, and it took an hour. Most of the time was spent validating that the application actually worked. So it also takes time when it builds the application, because it takes like 2 to 3 minutes to compile it. That said, at the end of the day, $73 for this specific session is a lot of money, especially since when I built the same application with Fable 5, I only spent $50. So you can see here that the total time was 1 hour and 6 minutes, and it's roughly the same that it took Fable 5 and GPT 5.6. So on time we are at the same, and here we can clearly see that most of the context went into using the iOS simulator MCP. So context window right now, it's sitting at 55% of the 1 million context window. And it's also worth noting that I was able to do this thing just with my $20 per month subscription. So although the session cost $73, I didn't pay that. I am subscribed with the Pro plan, and it's not using my usage credits. Okay, time for the real test. I have here my physical device, and let's see if it actually works on the first try. Let's open it. We have the onboarding. Of course, we have dark mode. We have a blue as the primary color. Let's continue. Okay, so it's, I guess, customizing it, because now it's green and now it's orange. So let's enable notifications. Amazing. Now, the title, as you can see there, is not compatible with light mode, but this is actually an annoying caveat that even experienced engineers need to handle with Expert Router, but everything else looks great. Navigation feels great. Let's load this sample data. There we have it. So let's go back and take a look. The header animation is not working. Let's take a look at sorting items. Ooh, that works really nice. Perfect. Let's mark this as done. We have the animation and it looks great. It has a nice background with shadow. Let's take a look at the history screen. I really like it. It really seems like the GitHub heat map, which is what I was going for as the inspiration. And I specifically asked for a GitHub style heat graph in the prompt. So this looks really nice. The header animation is not working, so a little detail there. Send that as notification. And here we have it. So local notifications are working great. So the new habit screen looks really nice, and it's more minimalistic, I would say. Let's say subscribe and add it. Okay, so here's the item. Now let's take a look at the actions. If I swipe left, I can edit, and I bring it here, or I can delete it. All right, at this point, the application actually works. But if I were to actually launch this app, building it would only be half of the job. The next problem is figuring out how to get people to discover it. For this video, I partnered with Virlo. Virlo lets you search any niche and track creators across short-form content. It gives you real-time data, AI reports, and creator outliers from TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and the Meta ad library without having to manually scrape every platform. And because Virlo connects directly to Claude Code through the MCP, I asked Opus to research content formats already working for habit and productivity applications. Virlo analyzed hundreds of videos and slideshows, and the result genuinely changed how I would launch this application. Dedicated habit tracker demos were not the strongest opportunity. Virlo found 61 videos around iPhone home screen aesthetics and widgets, compared to only 15 dedicated habit tracker demos. So instead of marketing my app as another habit tracker, the stronger angle is a widget that makes your home screen look good, which also happens to track your habits. Opus then turned that research into 3 original launch concepts: a home screen carousel, a silent 8-second demo, and a simple builder story asking viewers for feedback. And that is what makes this workflow useful. I'm not asking AI to guess what might work. I'm giving it real social data and using it to create an original launch plan. If you want to connect Virlo to Claude, Codex, or your own product, check out the link in the description. Now, before I launch anything, there's one test left. Does the widget actually work? Now, the real test to me is check if the widget actually works. So let's take a look. Ooh, but it's not displaying anything, so that's kind of weird. Just so that you get a sense of how this looks on different applications. So the one at the bottom was created by Fable 5, the one in the middle was created by GPT-5, and the medium size doesn't look great, but the small one and large one looks great. That's how it looks. And seems that Opus 5 wasn't able to test this. Of course, I'm pretty sure that it would have been able to fix it if it was able to take a screenshot of it, but it wasn't while developing it, so it couldn't test it. So I'm not going to create a follow-up prompt because it's going to be very expensive. I would actually recommend that you create a new chat after the first long session. But overall, I'm pretty happy with the results. So can Claude Opus 5 beat GPT 5.6 Sol? Focusing only on the product, the final result, I would say this is a tie for this specific application. What worries me a lot is the cost, because $73 for this session, it's a lot of money. Now, on the other hand, this is included in the Pro plan, so I didn't pay for that. It was able to test it inside Cloud Code application by taking screenshots and iterating, although that also consumed extra context. So if you're trying to use less tokens, maybe just don't use the simulator because it's going to use a lot of context window. And it would also take more time to deliver the first version. So right now, of course, I'm also using Ultra Code, which is going to take more time to reason. Seems to me that GPT 5.6 Sol is more efficient and the final results were pretty much the same. But let me know which model you're going to be using. If you want to see GPT 5.6 Sol go through the exact test, that video is right here. Watch it next and compare what it built before you choose a model for your own application. And thanks to all the channel members for your support. It really helps me keep creating content like this and paying the AI bill. If you want to get early access to future videos and exclusive content, consider becoming a channel member. See you in the next one.